Hi everybody, and welcome to the webinar entitled Rapid Mobile App Development with ICEmobile. Okay, let's get started. So welcome to the webinar. A few introductions first. My name is Philip Rowe and I'm a senior developer here at iSoft. The phones in the webinar phones for the attendees are muted to reduce background noise, and we'll have a Q&A session at the end of the webinar, so feel free to ask any questions throughout the webinar in the GoToWebinar console on your screen. Throughout the presentation, there'll be a series of polling questions I'll be asking. We're very interested in finding out about what you're interested in, and we'll ask 4 different polling questions on a range of topics. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the first polling question. What is your preferred mobile web application development model? You can select multiple options here. Please select all that apply. HTML5 and JavaScript, JSP, JSF, Spring MVC, or another. Okay, most of you have voted. Okay, I'm just going to close the poll now. So I'll just share these results with you. They're interesting. 72% of you are interested in HTML5 and JavaScript, which is interesting. 11% of you are interested in JSP. A big percentage of you are in Java server faces, and a smaller percent in Spring MVC and other frameworks. Okay, so let's talk about the agenda today and what we're going to be talking about. So first of all, we'll start off today by talking about a few of the different approaches to mobile development, including native development, web, and hybrid approaches. I'll then go into an overview of ICEmobile and talking about the architecture, UI components, device integration, as well as push capabilities. We're then going to look at some demos, and I'll show a quick coding example, hands-on demo, showing a device adaptive layout strategy that you can use. And then we'll round things off with a Q&A session. Okay, so I'm sure many of you have already started out on surveying the landscape of mobile development. And at first, it might not be completely clear that there are actually a few different strategies and avenues that you could take. Some of these mobile technologies and platforms may be completely foreign to your typical development, especially if you're in a typical Java enterprise shops. So there are 3 main approaches to mobile development, and each of these approaches have some benefits, and each of these has some drawbacks that you should be aware of. Okay, let's start off with native. Obviously, native development comes quickly to mind when we think about mobile. You might want a nice native app. I think the biggest issue with native development is most likely for a lot of people going to be skill sets. If you're targeting iOS, you're going to require some Objective-C expertise. Even with Android and BlackBerry, which support Java, you're still dealing with a completely new set of APIs. BlackBerry 10 has a completely new API based on Qt and C++. So you're going to be dealing with completely new skill sets needed for development and testing, new testing environments, etc. And this is going to take a while to get up and running. The big plus about native is that it's probably what most people consider the slickest option. Native apps look quite nice most of the time. They can be highly performant, and you might want to leverage some of the neat device features like the camera, microphone, contacts, etc. So with native, you have everything that the device has to work with. Now, while you have all these great features with native, unfortunately you also have to deal with a lot of different devices and differences across platforms and versions. Unless you limit the number of targeted devices, you're exposed to a high amount of fragmentation in the native world. So in fact, even if you limit the number of supported devices, you're still going to have to deal with frequent API changes and device updates. Now, the pace of platform updates in the native world is really rapid. And on both, for instance, on both iOS and Android, even in Android's fairly short existence, it's now on API level 17. And iOS, believe it or not, has had 50 different updates. So you've surely also heard of HTML5, and you might think about pure web development, and sticking with the web might be the way to go. So especially after looking at the complexity of native development, HTML5 can definitely look enticing. What's great about modern mobile platforms, rather, is that most devices now have excellent browsers. And all of iOS, Android, and BlackBerry have WebKit-based browsers that are HTML5 and CSS3 capable, so you can do a lot with them. You might also have very good and strong in-house capabilities in cutting-edge web development, and it's likely that you already have existing infrastructure of servers and network to easily extend into mobile web development. Redirecting a user to a custom mobile page is a lot simpler than the native development. You can leverage your existing web assets, and that might be all you need. So unfortunately, in mobile web development, and the downside is that you're not able to fully leverage the device capabilities, and HTML5 does have some nascent native device integration, such as camera access on some platforms, but we're still quite a ways off from mobile HTML5 being able to leverage device capabilities. So desktop HTML5 is much further in this regard, but mobile browsers are still quite a ways behind desktop browsers. Now, the third approach that you might not be as familiar with is called the hybrid approach. And the hybrid approach mixes both the web and native approaches with the aim of giving you the best of both worlds. With the hybrid approach, you typically stick with web development technologies, working with CSS and HTML and JavaScript. And the big difference between the web and hybrid approaches is that you should be able to much more fully leverage the device capabilities with a hybrid approach. You should have access to the camera, for instance, video, microphone, contacts, notifications, etc. Things that you don't easily or not at all have access to with the web approach. Now, the other very nice aspect of hybrid that you might want to consider is that you can avoid device and API fragmentation issues. The promise here, the big promise, is that you can support multiple platforms with a single code base, and that's very appealing to a lot of people. The best choice in the end between native, web, or hybrid obviously is going to depend on your own needs. A simple mobile web app might need nothing more than some HTML5 and JavaScript, and the most demanding performance-sensitive apps might require nothing less than a native platform. It's all going to depend on exactly what you need, and I think a lot of people actually are going to fall in the middle, somewhere in the middle between the pure web and the native requirements, and that's where the hybrid approach's sweet spot is. So let's look at a few options here. This isn't an exhaustive survey of the mobile landscape, and we haven't included every possible option, of course, but I want to give you a big picture of the development approaches. So with the pure web approach, or with the native side, we have iOS, Android, and BlackBerry, which are the big three, of course. Windows Mobile is still a bit behind BlackBerry in terms of footprint, and there's also other platforms on the horizon, such as Bata, now called Tizen, and Migo, are actually fairly strong in some world markets. Now, with the web approach, we have HTML5-based frameworks like jQuery Mobile, Dojo Mobile, and Sencha Touch. Both jQuery Mobile and Dojo are fully open source, but Sencha Touch is commercial. Now for hybrid, we have PhoneGap and ICEmobile. There's also IBM Worklight are some of the options. Both PhoneGap and ICEmobile are open source. Now, one of the things you might want to ask about hybrid platforms is, about the deployment and distribution scenarios. So, for instance, do you have to package your own apps? You still might need an officially supported native development platform to build and distribute your app, which a lot of people don't realize about some hybrid platforms. Do you need extra licenses from the native platform vendors? Are you going to have to deal with App Store hurdles and have your applications approved or enter into some sort of enterprise subscription with the vendors? Some hybrid solutions, such as ICEmobile, don't actually require you to package and distribute your app, although you can. And you can distribute your app purely from the web with ICEmobile. So ICEmobile, we position as a hybrid native web Java EE-based mobile platform. So the main goals that we're trying to achieve with ICEmobile are cross-platform, of course, write one app for multiple device platforms, provide a native experience for the user, and provide a web development and deployment experience for the developer. Now, I think ICEmobile, with these goals, straddles a really unique position right now in the mobile space. You know, as I mentioned, there are other hybrid solutions out there, such as PhoneGap and IBM Worklight and Titanium, but none of these provide the unique features of cross-platform native integration along with web development and distribution. With other hybrid platforms, you can write for the web, but you have to often do your own packaging and distribution. And you're still creating an app that has to be deployed onto a device. With ICEmobile, you're deploying a web app. So you deploy a WAR to your own server, users get the update. And I think that's a big difference between ICEmobile and some of the other hybrid approaches. So the end result is with ICEmobile, you can have a rich internet application that look and act like native mobile applications. Another great feature of ICEmobile is that not only are we cross-platform on the device, supporting iOS and Android and BlackBerry, but we also support multiple platforms on the server. We're Java EE based, as I mentioned, but ICEmobile, that you might not know, has both JSF and JSP libraries, as well as Spring MVC integration. You can deploy your web app as a JSP web app or as a JSF web app, and whatever you're more comfortable with, or both. The JSF platform is based on JSF2 and ICEbases 3, and you can also use Servlet Spec 2.5 or 3. Or you can deploy the JSP-based platform as well, with or without Spring MVC integration. Okay, I'm going to launch into the second polling question here. Okay, how important is the portability of your current desktop web applications to mobile devices? Meaning, if you currently have current desktop-based web applications, how important to you is it to migrate all of those desktop web applications to for the mobile platforms? Okay, most of you have voted. Okay, I'm just going to close the poll now. Thanks for voting. I'll share these results. The majority of you think it's very important. 62% need to migrate existing desktop mobile web apps, and 33% somewhat important. So I think that's a fairly strong statement that we're all trying to mobilize our current desktop web applications. Okay, so for cross-platform development, ICEmobile supports iOS 4 and up, for both the iPhone and the iPad. We support BlackBerry 6 and 7, and soon to support BlackBerry 10. And we also support Android 2.3 and higher. So quite a range of supported platforms and versions there. I think that covers the big three. So another big feature of ICEmobile is we try to achieve native look and feel. And ICEmobile, one of the great features is that it can automatically adapt to the client device. So if you're on iOS or the iPad, there's a particular theme for that, another theme for the iPhone, and another theme for BlackBerry, and several themes for Android, whether you're on a tablet or a phone. So by just using ICEmobile and using the ICEmobile tags, you automatically get this automatic device adaptation. So your apps can look much more like native apps for the particular platform without having to worry about all this custom CSS and design yourself. So we have native theming for all the platforms. And we also have adaptive layouts. So, for instance, you're not going to want to develop or send a large layout to a phone. Likewise, you're not going to want to send a small phone layout UI to a tablet. Tablets are still considered mobile devices, and they're still under the umbrella of mobile development. But you have a lot more screen real estate there, and you're going to want to use it. Now, another important thing is that we're dealing with touch UI here. Now, if you haven't done mobile development, it's a very different beast. Touch-based user interfaces are very different than pointer-based and desktop user interfaces. And ICEmobile is designed from the ground up to be touch-based and touch-enabled. We also have a large mobile component library. It's another notable feature. We support both libraries in JSF and JSP, and we have over 50 JSF components and over 40 plus and growing JSP tags. So there's quite a lot to choose from there. UI components are designed from the ground up to intelligently adapt to each platform. And by adapting to each platform, we're able to selectively leverage HTML5 and CSS3 capabilities where they're available. So, for instance, some older devices might not be quite as capable. They might not support all of HTML5 and CSS3. We adapt to that, and we do thorough testing and adapt the products on the component level to each platform. So by intelligently adapting to each platform, you, the developer, get the most out of each, and you don't have to settle for the lowest common denominator in terms of features and support for your target platforms. Now, ICEmobile offers access to native features, including the camera, video recording, audio recording, QR code scanning, geolocation, augmented reality. And augmented reality is a really neat thing that you might want to check out. We have some videos on our website for it and some demos. It allows you to provide a space where a user can look at a video screen overlaid with 2D or 3D images. And contact list access is also a part of ICEmobile native features, as well as device notification. So there are a lot of really interesting device features, and these can allow you to build really rich and powerful web applications. Now let's look at the ICEmobile native container. So you might be asking yourself, okay, well, if you're developing a web app, how do you get native integration? You're still in a browser, right? Well, that's true, but we provide native containers that give you that native access. So these are freely available and can be downloaded. We have an ICEmobile app and an ICEmobile SX app that can be installed from each of the app stores. This is what we call the ICEmobile container. So the deal here is that these containers can communicate with the web apps, and the web apps can communicate with the container. So there's integration between your JSF and JSP components and tags and the native container. So it's like we've provided a hyper browser, a browser with extra features and native access integrated with the actual device and the actual specific device platform. These containers, as I mentioned, are freely downloadable from the app stores, but they can also be customized and branded if you need to do that. When you download the ICEmobile bundle, all of the source code for the containers for each of BlackBerry, Android, and iOS are included in the source bundle. Now, for iOS and Apple has stricter regulations on what sort of browsers can be put onto the Apple App Store. So to get around this, we still have the Apple container that you can use and extend for yourself. But on the Apple App Store, we have a slightly different version called ICEmobile SX, which is short for Surf Expander. And soon we're going to have this for Android as well. So this will be another option. And ICEmobile SX allows you to use the different browsers. You might want to use Chrome or iOS Safari and still get the native access with ICEmobile. When you're using the regular ICEmobile container, it's actually, you can think of it like a running browser yourself. So that's its own browser. So if you're using the ICEmobile container, you're not going to be using another browser like Chrome or Safari, but with ICEmobile SX, you still can. And these, as I mentioned, all of these containers are available on the app stores. You can download it from Google Play, the Apple App Store, or BlackBerry App World. So give those a shot and download them. As soon as you download them, you can you don't have to have your own development environment. If you download ICEmobile or ICEmobile SX from the app stores, you can instantly start playing with the ICEmobile demos, which they're configured to do so. So it's a nice way to demo and test out some of the ICEmobile features. Okay, another thing I'd like to talk about is Ajax Push. Now, you might have heard of Ajax Push before with iSpaces, and it's been one of the great features of iSpaces, and we wanted to bring it to ICEmobile. Now, Ajax Push in a nutshell is the ability for the server to update the client or a group of clients on demand without the client needing to request an update. So it essentially allows the server to push updates to a single client or group of clients on demand whenever it needs to. Now, Ajax Push has been a core part of iSpaces since the beginning over 7 years ago, and over that time it's been constantly refined and hardened since then, so it's grown into a very mature and well-tested technology. Now, we've ported Ajax Push over to ICEmobile in each of the platforms for both JSF and JSP, and we've also added some great mobile features. Now, one of the new features is called Cloud Push. And Cloud Push is a way to leverage the mobile platform's notification infrastructure. If the user, for instance, is not currently active and currently looking at the browser, how do you notify that user when a push event occurs? And Cloud Push solves this problem. So user notifications can be delivered via a pure web mechanism of Ajax Push, just like they are in iSpaces. Or you can use a higher priority delivery mechanism that leverage native integration in cloud-based infrastructure with Cloud Push. We have a multi-channel delivery system. So this channel delivery system can deliver notification via a web-based Ajax Push channel, or if that isn't available, through device notification or through extra adapters such as email. So iSpace's device notification supports and Cloud Push supports several different cloud infrastructures and services such as Android's Google Cloud Messaging, available for Android, the Apple Push Notification Service, and BlackBerry Push Service, as well as general email notifications. And we'll be adding more push adapters for different channels in the future as well. So let's take a little look at a demonstration, an illustration of how Ajax Push works if you're not familiar with it. So this is an illustration of Ajax Push in the pure web version of Ajax Push. So Ajax Push is HTTP based, and it doesn't require any plugins or a specific client-side container. In the next slide, I'll show you some of the mobile-specific extensions of Ajax Push with Cloud Push. So one of the keys to Ajax Push is that we're able to start off the process on the server rather than waiting for a client-initiated request as you normally are with web applications. So this can be run in any Java servlet container, and we have ICEmobile, an ICEmobile web application running in the container, in the app server. So the client on the right can be any supported device, BlackBerry, iOS, or Android, or just for web-based Ajax Push, any browser. And on the server, we have some application state change happening. It could be, for instance, anything of interest to the application. It could be a stock price changing, it could be an auction bid, any other important change. Now, in step 2, we see the notification being pushed from the server to the client across the network, and the client browser then automatically sees the page update. So what we've done here is we pushed out a page update to the user without the user requesting that information. So Ajax push notifications can be sent to individual clients or group of clients, making large-scale rapid user notifications easily achievable. Another thing to note is that Ajax Push doesn't resort to techniques such as polling, and it doesn't rely on other techniques that aren't cross-browser or cross-platform compliant, such as WebSockets. Ajax Push will work for almost any browser from IE6 all the way up to modern browsers. And it'll also work on any network, and it's been battle tested over many different network technologies and large-scale deployments. And Ajax Push is also very fast. A client can receive a notification under 50 milliseconds, so you can send out updates extremely fast with Ajax Push. So with Cloud Push for ICEmobile, let's look at some of the new mobile features we've integrated here. We've grouped these under the term of Cloud Push, and the idea here is that on the mobile device, we have other means of notifying a user if their browser isn't active. If the browser is active, Ajax Push can function normally, delivering a notification over HTTP as it did before. But what happens if the user has switched applications? On a mobile device, we can't actually assume that the browser process is running like we usually do on desktop for desktop web applications. So what we've done is we've integrated with cloud services and BlackBerry, Apple, and Google's messaging service. And with Ajax Push, we can detect when the server, when a client browser is no longer active, and can actually alter the messaging route. So when a server-side push event occurs, we can selectively switch over to the cloud messaging route for any clients that no longer have active HTTP Ajax Push connections. And we also know what each platform is that what each client's platform is. So if the client is using a BlackBerry ICEmobile container, we can use the BlackBerry Push service. If they're using iOS, we can use the Apple Push notification service. And if they're using the Android container, we can use the Google Cloud Messaging service. So even if the client browser isn't active, the user can still receive device notification alerting them of the event. So when that happens, the user will still, even though they're not looking at the browser, they can still see an update for the or a buzz or an alert mechanism depending on the device. They can still be alerted. Now, even if we don't have that messaging platform available for a user, they might not be on a supported platform. We can still use the email channel and other future channels in the future, such as SMS. So there's this new Cloud Push feature with ICEmobile is a much higher priority or supports a much higher priority a notification scenario than you typically have with Ajax Push. With ICEmobile's Cloud Push, you can be sure that a user has actually received the notification or they haven't. Okay, so I'm just going to go over a few points here. Why ICEmobile? Well, there are many ways to write and deliver a mobile app. We appreciate that. And so I'd like to review a couple points here. And why might ICEmobile be a good option? We believe that ICEmobile is really the easiest choice for writing a mobile application. If you're a Java EE shop, that means you can stick with Java EE standards, including JSF, JSP, and Spring. And the hybrid capabilities of ICEmobile let you go much farther beyond HTML5 and let you access powerful device features. Now, even though you're developing a web application, you can still deliver a native look and feel with ICEmobile, which is a nice thing to do. And you also have the development the benefit of cross-platform development with ICEmobile, writing one web app for multiple device platforms. Ajax Push can help you deliver powerful collaborative applications where users are instantly notified of events in real time, and you can rely on a higher priority multi-channel delivery of cloud push. And lastly, very importantly, ICEmobile is fully open source. We release everything under the Apache 2 license, which is a very nice assurance for the user or for the developer. Okay, I'm just going to go on to the third polling question now. Okay, what benefits of ICEmobile are you most interested in? You can select all the ones that apply here. Standards-based Java EE development, the access to native features such as camera contacts, and etc., cross-platform development, native application look and feel, or cloud push. Choose all the ones that apply there. Okay, most of you have voted. Okay, I'm just going to close the poll now. I'll share the results. So it's interesting. Most of you really care about Java EE and you want to stick with Java EE, and I think that's not surprising. I think Java EE has really become the dominant standard for server development, and that's not going to change. A large portion of you want access to the camera and other device features, and a really strong a portion of you, 91%, really care about cross-platform development. Native application look and feel is fairly important too, with 55%, and 32% are very interested in cloud push. So those are really interesting stats to hear. Thanks for sharing those. Okay, so we have several very interesting demos with ICEmobile that you might want to check out. You can view all the demos on isoft.org under the demos heading. We have mobile showcases for both JSF and JSP, and we also have a neat media sharing demo called MediaCast in both JSF and JSP versions of that. So you can take a look at those. They are available from www.isoft.org. Under the demos, downloads and demos, you'll see ICEmobile demos there. And a really nice thing about our demos is they're all available in the download bundle. So when you download ICEmobile, you get a lot of different samples, both JSF and JSP samples and Spring MVC samples. So there's some very interesting things to take a look at there. So I invite all of you to take a look at those. You can look at those on desktop, but it's very nice to look at them on your actual device, which bring out the mobile aspects of them. Okay, so now we're going to go on to the coding part of the webinar. What we're going to do is we're going to dive into developing ICEmobile, and I'll try to show you how easy it is to get going. What we're going to do is we're going to develop and deploy an ICEmobile application, and then we're going to test how it adapts to different platforms. We're going to be using the ICEmobile Eclipse plugin. Now we have a plugin for Eclipse, and we also have a plugin for NetBeans, as well as IBM RAD and RSA, and I believe there's also a My Eclipse plugin. So you have quite a choice there for environment support. We're going to be deploying our application on Tomcat 7. Now, ICEmobile and iSpaces supports a wide range of servers, so almost any Java application server will do here. Now, in the what we're going to be doing is working and deploying with the JSF version of ICEmobile. Now, this is based on JSF 2.1 and iSpaces 3.2, so that's going to be in our stack as well. And of course, we're going to be using the latest ICEmobile 1.2 version. Okay, before we get going here, I'm just going to ask one last polling question. So ICEmobile currently supports Android 2 and higher, iOS, and BlackBerry 6 and 7. What other mobile platforms might you be interested in? BlackBerry 10, Windows Phone 7 and 8, and there's also some up-and-comers called Tizen as well as Migo. Okay, most of you have voted. Just wait a few seconds. Okay, I'm going to close the poll now. Share the results. So a strong number of you are very interested in BlackBerry 10, which is nice to hear. Windows Phone 7, less so. A large number of you are interested in Windows Phone 8, which is interesting. I probably wouldn't have expected that. And a small number of you are interested in Tizen and Migo. Okay. Okay, so let's get going here. So first of all, I'll show you the development environment with Eclipse. So you can download the ICEmobile plugin from www.icesoft.org, and all of our downloads are available for ICEmobile and our other products there. And under Tools, you'll see the available Eclipse and NetBeans and other plugins there. So it's a typical Eclipse plugin. It's based on the Eclipse WTP platform. So when you create a web app here, we're going to create what's called a dynamic web app in the Eclipse WTP platform parlance. So I'll show you first how easy it is to create a new web app. So from the Project Explorer, I'm going to create a new dynamic web project. Just going to call it test 2. Now, where you actually choose ICEmobile is under the configuration heading here. So under configuration, we have our target runtime as Apache Tomcat 7, our web module version, which associates to the servlet spec number is 3. And under configuration, I'm going to choose ICEmobile default project configuration. Set next. I'm going to choose my JSF version. Now, this particular demo hands-on demonstration is based on JSF. There's a slightly different version for JSP. So if you are interested in JSP support, we have the same sort of a support for that with JSP. But with JSF, obviously, we need the JSF implementation. So you choose that. Select all your other JSF configuration. Now here, because ICEmobile JSF is based on iSpaces, you can also choose different configurations for iSpaces. There are several different templates that are available in the plugin for you to get started, some different iSpaces and ICEmobile templates for different sorts of navigation, such as accordion, menu, and tab-based navigation. I'm just going to choose the blank project template for ICEmobile. And you can also choose whether you want iSpaces Compat 1.8 version of their components support, as well as the newer ACE components and icepush. I'm just going to leave those blank. Now, as soon as you create the web app, all of the necessary configuration is done for you. There's a little bit of configuration that's done necessary in web.xml. There are all the libraries that are brought in for you for ICE-based JSF and ICEmobile, and there's some sample pages that are open for you. Now, when you open the beginning sample page index.html with the web page editor, you can see a WYSIWYG view here. So we have palette support and WYSIWYG support. So you'll see all of the ICEmobile components in the palette, and you can drag all of those wherever you want into the onto the page. Now you can see when we first create a page here, we have all the necessary boilerplate code for you. So we have already some ICEmobile tags here that by convention start with Mobi. So it's very easy to get up and running with start a project off with the plugin with ICEmobile. Now this particular app I'm gonna run through with you is how do you design. You have one question: how do you design a mobile web app and serve different UIs to tablet or desktop versus handheld users? Now this is the adaptive key to a mobile strategy, I think, and this is where I'm going to show you how ICEmobile can help you here. So getting started. After we've created our mobile app, the plugin has automatically created the boilerplate code for us. Now, a few important features there are the HTML5 doc type. Now, ICEmobile is HTML5 and CSS3 based. To get the most out of the browsers, you're going to want to use the HTML5 doc type, which we do in the template code there. Now, the first ICEmobile component that we're going to look at is one called device resource. So you can see it's placed in the head here. We have the JSF head and body tags, and Mobi device resource is placed inside the head. Now, what device resource does is it automatically does device detection and will download or inject the necessary devices, the necessary resources for the particular device. It'll help you and control automated theming, inject the proper CSS and JavaScript, as well as control the optimum viewport settings that can be done with meta tags inside of the head element. So to get up and running with ICEmobile, one of the few things you need to do is just use the Mobi device resource tag, and then you're off and running. Now, we want to create a typical page layout with a title, a footer or a header, and a footer with a scrollable body, which is something you see quite often with mobile UIs. So ICEmobile has a component to help you with that called Page Panel. Now, with the Page Panel, you can describe or define what your header is and what your footer is. You can have both or either or none, as well as what your body is. Now, this will render nicely on the mobile device, and it'll adapt to the particular device for you. And the page panel headers will be fixed, as well as the footers, and you'll still have a scrollable body region, which is a nice thing to have. And you can put anything you want, any other components in the header and footer regions there. So I'll show you. So here you can see on the finished project here, I have an H-form, and I'm using the mobile Mobi page panel. Another thing to note is in the plugins, you not only have WYSIWYG support, but you also have full code completion. So as soon as I start typing in Mobi there, I can see all the ICEmobile components for me. If I choose one, what's very nice is that I get automatic attribute completion, so I can see all the available attributes on every tag and component. And with the Eclipse WTP platform, you also get attribute value and expression language support. So it'll help you. For instance, auto height is true or false. this particular attribute on the accordion. If I choose another one, such as height, and start typing in an expression, I get expression support, and the Eclipse platform will tell me what beans I have available, and it'll even allow you to drill down into bean properties, which is very nice. So that really helps speed up development. You don't have to type everything yourself. So here I've got the body in my JSF page. I have a JSF form. And then for the main UI here, I'm going to use the ICEmobile page panel with a header and a body, as well as a footer. In the footer, I'm just including a copyright notice. So how do we adapt to small views and large views? Well, we have a few other components that help you with that, called small view and large view. These are simple components that will render only to the target device. So for instance, in the header, for mobile handheld users on phones, I might want to show a nice menu button up in the header in the top left-hand corner that you often see on mobile apps. But I only want to show it for handheld users. I don't want tablet users or desktop users to see it. So to do that, I can simply use mobile small view and put a Mobi command button in there. This is a Unicode for the mobile menu icon, and this will only be shown for handheld users. Now in the body, I'm going to show different. In the body region, I'm going to show different layouts for phone versus tablet and desktop as well. So how do we show different content? Well, ICEmobile encourages a single web page strategy where you dynamically switch out content. Now, in order to dynamically switch out content, we have a component called content stack, and it's called Mobi Content Stack, and you can define several content panes that are included in the content stack and programmatically dynamically switch content and switch panes. So here in this particular code sample, I have a content stack, and I'm binding the content stack a current ID to a bean property called current pane. That's going to allow me to control what the current user view pane is. Now inside here, I have one pane that's for the menu, and some other panes that are in a separate page here, just some sample pages, sample panes. So what kind of different UIs do we want to show to a phone versus a tablet or desktop? Well, what I like to do typically is show a condensed view for a phone, such as a menu-based layout like this with a home or menu button here on the top, allowing you with the content stack to switch panes as a user clicks on a particular menu item. But you don't want to show that view for tablet or desktop users. So for that, we can use the ICEmobile split pane with the menu on the side, still using the page panel with the header and the footer at the bottom, but then we can have the content always shown on here on the right-hand side. So a very, very easy way to approach this adaptive layout strategy is to use small view and large view to serve different content to the phone versus the tablet or desktop users, and still have the content stack inside of each, but we're going to slightly change what we actually put in the content stack and still reuse all of our content. Here for the small view, we have a content stack and we're including the menu. But here for the large view, we have a content stack, but we're not including the menu. Well, we don't need to include the menu because we're including it here over on the left-hand side. We're using a split pane with a column divider at 30% here for the large view. Now, what are we binding the content stack to? Well, it's a simple bean. It's a JSF managed bean in session scope, and we have a current pane attribute, or property I should say, and we have a getter and a setter for that. Now the only interesting thing that's in here is that I want to be able to to serve a different default first page for the user, whether they're on a phone or whether they're on a tablet or desktop. For the phone users, I want to show them the menu at first. So an easy way to do this with ICEmobile is to use our device detection. So we not only have device detection built into the tags and components, we also have this as an accessible programmatic API for you in Java. So in JSF, you can simply call mobi JSF utils, get client descriptor, is handheld browser, and there are many other features and things to detect. You can detect whether it's handheld, desktop, or tablet. You can detect the actual platform. You can detect many other things for the client to adapt to. So for handheld users on phones, I'm gonna serve them the menu, but for tablets, I'm gonna show them the first page because they're always seeing the menu on the left side. So what's the end result? Well, the end result is that you'll have phone views adapted to the device. Here we have the phone view for an iOS user. Here we have it for an Android phone. Here we have it for BlackBerry. But for larger views for tablets, this might be an Android tablet user, and this might be an iPad user. So the end result is that you can get a very nice adaptive UI very, very simply with ICEmobile. So how do you test adaptive UIs? Well, there are a few different testing tools out there, but one of the simple things I like to use is simply called a user agent switcher. Now, we have user agent switchers available in some of the web development tools, such as the Chrome Web Inspector, and we also have it. There are also extra plugins that you can download for your particular browser. I'm going to open up the Web Inspector here for Chrome, and if you go to open up Settings, Overrides, you can actually change the user agent. So if I want to pretend to be a BlackBerry, I can change that. Sorry, I'm not sure what happened there. I'll try iPhone. I might have conked out on my server. I might just have to restart. One moment. Okay, so there we go. So now I'm an iPhone 5. So the iPhone user is seeing I'll shrink this down a little bit. So the iPhone user is seeing a menu-based view, and they can click on a menu item and click on the menu button and go back and forth very, very easily. But this isn't something you want to show to a user with a larger screen. You want to show them a better layout. So for instance, I'll choose a Android tablet. You can show them an adaptive view with a menu on the left side and the content on the right side. Now you'll see the tablet view, the larger view, isn't seeing the menu button because they don't really need to see it. So you're intelligently adapting to the user interface, and ICEmobile will automatically adapt to the device and to the client. So that's what we call the adaptive mobile strategy. You might have also heard of responsive mobile design. Adaptive mobile design is a sort of a similar approach, but instead of just relying on responsive client-centric approaches, we can actually do device detection that gives you greater power in serving different content for different sorts of users. Okay, so let's look at the roadmap here, just ending off with the roadmap, and then we'll get into the Q&A session. A few new things, neat new features of ICEmobile coming in 1.3, should be out in May in the May timeframe. We're going to have a complete core rendering engine, and this means our JSF and JSP libraries are going to be similar and fully compatible. In order to support both JSF and JSP, one of the underlying innovative aspects of ICEmobile is that we have a core rendering engine that works for both JSF and JSP. We're going to have enhanced Spring MVC integration with greater and more integrated support for Spring MVC. We're going to have more adaptive layout controls, some more interesting layout controls that will make designing mobile UIs easier. We're going to come out with some mobile data tables, which is something that our users have been asking a lot for. We're going to have enhanced augmented reality support. We're going to have a new ICEmobile SX Surf Expander for Android, as well as a device simulator and tester, as well as BlackBerry 10 support. So there's a lot of new features coming out for ICEmobile 1.3 that you can look out for around the May timeframe. Okay, so now we've got a few minutes to go into a Q&A session. So if you haven't asked a question now, feel free to do so. You can use the Q&A console in the GoToWebinar console here. And if you've already asked a question, just bear with me for a few minutes while I grab some of these questions from users. If you haven't asked your question yet, please feel free to do so, and feel free to ask any question you like on ICEmobile. We're happy to answer anything. Okay, here's a good question. Can an ICEmobile app simply be deployed as a web application and access the device's native containers, or does the app need to be deployed as an app to do that? The answer is sort of yes and sort of yes. ICEmobile is deployed and developed as a regular web app. So you, the developer creating a mobile web app based on ICEmobile, are just developing a web application. You don't need to worry about the actual installing an actual mobile app. But the way we access native features is that we have an ICEmobile app available on the app stores. Now, if you want to customize this for yourself and white label it for yourself, you can. But by default, you don't need to worry about native app development or distribution, any of those headaches. Just bear with me a moment while I grab another question. So another interesting question we have here is, will iSpace's components ever simply be mobile aware versus having a separate version like our separate library, I think you mean, for of ICEmobile for desktop versus mobile? The answer is yeah, we're moving to that. The iSpace's ACE components are becoming touch-enabled. We're beginning to support mobile touch-enabled platforms on those. And that's great, but that's never going to be, iSpaces and ACE components are never going to be able to customize fully to mobile platforms, and I think that's where ICEmobile comes in. But yes, we are moving forward with mobile features for the iSpaces ACE components as well. Okay, another question, can ICEmobile apps be packaged for online stores like the App Store? Absolutely. And you can use, as I mentioned, the ICEmobile app with yourself and just have users download ICEmobile, which is currently available on the App Stores, or you can customize the containers yourself. And not only can you white label them, but you can add extra things. You might add extra application-specific things like service events and service handling yourself. You might be able to, for instance, only restrict certain URLs or certain network access in your own container. You might want to customize your own container in many different ways, and you can do that. So the ICEmobile container source code is fully easily available in the ICEmobile bundle. So if you download the ICEmobile bundle, which I encourage everybody to do, you automatically get the containers there. You'll see the containers for iOS, which include both iPad and iPhone versions, as well as BlackBerry and Android. Okay, that about does it for the time we have available for the Q&A session. If we didn't get to everybody's question, I apologize. We will definitely get to everyone's questions after the webinars are over. Sorry, we're a little short on time here. So I'd like to thank everybody for attending. Please let us know how you like the webinar, and let us know if you'd like to learn about anything else or what else you have on your mind. A few resources for you to peruse for you here. We have everything available at icesoft.org under Projects ICEmobile, as well as you'll find everything you need to know about iSpaces and our other products there as well. We have a really lively forum as well. We have many support options for our open source versions and EE versions. We also do a lot of services, custom-based services, to help you get up and running, or to do app reviews or other custom component work or anything else. And a really great resource is all of our wiki and tutorials and documentation, which you'll find on icesoft.org as well. So thanks again, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.